and closed the hatch to begin pre-deorbit burn preparations. Those preparations included a leak check. You can see in this replay of video a short time after the actual physical separation of the Soyuz from the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the International Space Station's Russian segment. The Soyuz flying free of the International Space Station after having first arrived at the complex back on March 28th. In Kazakhstan, a team of NASA support personnel led by Sean Fuller, the Director of Human Spaceflight Operations in Russia, Joel Montalbano, the Deputy International Space Station Program Manager, and Bob Bankin, NASA's chief astronaut, amongst other personnel, including flight medical personnel. The journey home for this trio of crew members. The deorbit burn will last 4 minutes and 40 seconds to slow the Soyuz down in a braking maneuver by 128 meters per second, enabling it to drop out of orbit for its return into the Earth's atmosphere. About 28 minutes after the deorbit burn, the three sections of the Soyuz will pyrotechnically separate from one another. The descent module, in which the crew is strapped into their respective seats, will begin to enter the Earth's atmosphere, where temperatures will build up to about 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. About 14 minutes before landing, parachutes will deploy. First, the drogue chutes. They'll be severed, and that will make way for the deployment of the main parachute. The Soyuz then will decelerate its entry velocity by quite a bit, and right before touchdown, soft landing engines will fire in a final braking maneuver, and the Soyuz and its three inhabitants will be home, landing scheduled at 9:23 p.m. Central Time, 8:23 a.m. Kazakhstan time at the landing site. Away from the station, lower into the Earth's atmosphere, heading for entry interface, the first sensible traces of the atmosphere.
We have thruster activation. Nozzle pressure 1377. Spherical tank pressure 142,144.
And confirmation received that the deorbit burn is underway.
04. Acceleration 047. I've been working for 4 minutes 30 seconds. Nozzle 12.6. 16.7. Thruster deactivation. We have GK. We have thermal sensor.
And telemetry received confirmation from Skvortsov that the deorbit burn is complete and good. This is Mission Control Houston, and there is your Soyuz spacecraft under its parachute. The chutes have been deployed nominally, on time,
Let's move to the
as we are now just 13 minutes away from touchdown. A great view of the Soyuz in its final moments of flight, with its crew in good shape on board. Everything in great shape in what so far has been a textbook return home for Swanson, Skvortsov, and Artemiev.
Great.
The Russian Mi-8 helicopters carrying NASA personnel and Russian recovery personnel now circling in the vicinity of the landing zone, about 90 miles to the southeast of Zhezkazgan. The fact that we're receiving this video as early as we are, an indication that the Soyuz is heading for a bullseye landing.
Opening RPV 1. Go ahead.
That beeping sound that you hear is a radio beacon that is coming from the SOYUZ spacecraft, which relays positional information to the Antonov fixed-wing aircraft and the other recovery personnel at the landing site.
So, what does it come out to be?
And we just saw the heat shield being jettisoned on schedule, something we rarely have an opportunity to see. The base of the Soyuz now exposed with its altimeters, computing positional altitude and velocity information to its onboard computers.
Pressure in the south.
About 9.5 minutes until touchdown, everything going very smoothly. The Soyuz is moving toward its landing site in fine fashion. Guys, right now you need to tighten the knee pads. With landing scheduled less than 8 minutes from now, final instructions from the Russian flight control team in Korolyov to the crew as they prepare to brace themselves for landing. The Soyuz braking rockets will fire, kicking up dust underneath them just a second or two before touchdown itself. But everything going very well. The winds at altitude very light, as you can see, very little swaying of the Soyuz under its chute. Everything going swimmingly.
How do you copy? Guys, we're glad to hear you.
Автоматически, ну как, управляемый вход. Величина баллистического промаха была 1 самолета.
The crew on board the Soyuz in voice communications with the search and recovery forces at the landing site.
Okay, copy.
Under 6 minutes until touchdown.
Высота по высотомеру 662. Как приняли?
How copy? How copy the altitude number?
Высота километр 830.
The altitude is over 1 kilometer.
No issues being reported by either the crew on board the Soyuz, which is gently descending under its main parachute, or the search and recovery forces that are in position now in a circular flight pattern around the landing zone. Once the Soyuz touches down, then they'll begin to land in sequential fashion in their helicopters with all-terrain vehicles already in position and ground forces ready to begin the process of erecting an inflatable medical tent nearby and, of course, to extract the crew from the descent module itself.
Right now I'm looking at the altitude meter. It's giving me 1,300 in that range. Just a bit of haze at ground level, as you can see, as we will be seeing the Soyuz momentarily. We should get a good view of the soft landing engines fire and touchdown.
Хорошо, принял.
And there is the Soyuz, and you can see some of the Russian helicopters flying in the area with a good view of the Soyuz under its chutes as we are standing by for touchdown. Touchdown confirmed. Touchdown right on the button at 9:23 p.m. Central Time, 8:23 a.m. on Thursday morning on the steppe of Kazakhstan. The Expedition 40 crew, Steve Swanson of NASA, and Russian cosmonauts Alexander Skvortsov and Oleg Artemyev are home back on Earth after 169 days in space.
Да я бы и ближе мог подъехать. Я отключаюсь. Ну, можно было и ближе подъехать. Я говорю.
And now receiving replays from the landing and support teams in Kazakhstan, a much closer view of the touchdown of the Soyuz TMA-12M, which landed just about an hour ago in flawless fashion, a pinpoint landing for the Soyuz. You can see this view from one of the all-terrain vehicles driving up to approach the spacecraft, which landed upright, this just seconds after touchdown. And you can see one of the Russian Mi-8 helicopters also moving in for its landing to assist in the extraction of the crew and the safing of the spacecraft. This is Mission Control Houston as the ground-based all-terrain vehicles at the landing site drive toward the Soyuz spacecraft and reposition themselves. We'll be standing by for additional television from the landing site as well as additional information. The search and recovery forces are at the spacecraft beginning the process of safing the vehicle and setting up the inflatable medical tent nearby that the crew will be moved into once they've had an opportunity to be extracted from the capsule. And as you can see here, the Soyuz landed upright, receiving live television from the landing site about 90 miles to the southeast of the town of Jezkazgan in south-central Kazakhstan. The ladder has been set up alongside the spacecraft, and personnel from RSC Energia and the Russian search and recovery forces are by the capsule. And just 20 minutes after touchdown, your Soyuz commander, Alexander Skvortsov, is out of the center seat of the Soyuz descent module and being assisted towards a reclining, comfortable chair nearby to have a few minutes to get his equilibrium and his land legs back. You can see on the far right of your screen the chief of NASA's astronaut office, Bob Behnken, part of the NASA team of recovery personnel working in concert with the Rosaviatsa Search and Recovery Forces. What you're watching here is a replay of video that came down a short time ago, just a few minutes ago, showing Alexander Skvortsov being brought into this inflatable medical tent so that he can be helped out of his Sokol launch and entry suit into more comfortable clothing. Skvortsov was joined moments later by NASA's Steve Swanson, and a few minutes after that by Russian cosmonaut Oleg Artemyev. And the view from the landing site showing one of the Russian Mi-8 helicopters now airborne, heading back to Karaganda. In turn, 9 other helicopters, 3 of which will contain the 3 Expedition 40 crew members, will be airborne before long as this landing operation draws to a close in south-central Kazakhstan. The Expedition 40 crew safely back on Earth. This is Mission Control, Houston.
18.